Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Good to Know Shreveport Bossier. This is a podcast in which we showcase all the good things, the positive things happening around our community. My name is Jeff Blindfor over here. We can't get rid of him, although we try. This is my co-host, Paul Reeser. He's a local businessman. He's a member of the Committee of 100, and he's got a master's degree in French fry flipping. Say that 3 times real fast. Anyway, every podcast we focus on topics, initiatives, having positive impacts on our community. We have new episodes available every other Wednesday, and you can find Good to Know wherever you listen to your podcasts. And as always, the honors to introduce our very special guest belong to Mr. Reeser.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for another entertaining and generous introduction of me.
I'm always happy to be generous with you.
Well, speaking of generous, our community, Shreveport-Bossier, is generous with great guests. We always have an opportunity to have fantastic people on.
We do.
Today, no exception.
And as usual, your intro is like mind-numbingly long. But go ahead.
Well, Jeff, I'm sure you're familiar with the local university, Louisiana Shreveport University Shreveport.
LSU Shreveport, in other words.
LSU Shreveport.
Yeah, very good. Yes, I am familiar.
I thought you might be. Well, are you aware that it is one of the few universities in the country that is actually increasing in not only new students, but new programs?
I knew they were increasing. I didn't know they were one of the only few in the country.
Very few. It's hard to do.
That's impressive.
So to find out why we're growing and all the great things going on, we have the Chancellor here.
And at some point in our future, we will get around to his name, correct?
Perhaps. Well, once we start, you take over and I just have to sit here. But no, Dr. Robert Smith is here today. He has got numerous undergraduate degrees, master's degree, and doctorate in mathematics, which is
that's impressive.
Very unsimilar to us.
Yes, very much.
But his main, I think,
although you can count French fries well, I think.
I can count to 3.5 ounces.
Okay. That was a standard order for French fries, 3.5 ounces?
3.5 ounces.
Oh, okay.
So,
wonder why I was always
but that's frozen
shipped.
weight. That's not cooked weight. He cooks out some of the weight.
Okay.
Regardless, let's get back to the good doctor.
I wish you would.
Also, multiple leadership programs he's been through, including Harvard University. But his biggest claim to fame, I think, is how much he cares about students, the success of the students at LSUS. So we're super happy and proud and thankful to have you here today. Dr. Smith, thanks for joining us.
Well, good morning. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Did you
I'm
forget where you
more
were?
happy to have you than him. So that,
anytime
just getting that out there.
Anytime I can talk about LSU Shreveport, I'm there.
Well, we're going to get into some of it.
Well, like I say, it's been very successful as of late, and you've been there about a year now, right?
I have almost 13 months.
Okay.
Not that I'm counting.
I know the feeling.
So almost a year. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Go ahead.
Don't stump me. I don't have
that
the
one
math.
fell
I don't
flat.
Have the
Sorry.
in mathematics. But I guess what brought you to Shreveport? What made you want to take over this program?
So there was an opportunity here with Larry Clark retiring. I had been looking for a presidency. I've been a vice president and provost for 8 years, 2 different institutions in Georgia, and this opportunity came up. And I'll be candid with you. I've told people this story. The week before I was here, 6 days before I visited, I was on a visit for a presidential opportunity, and I came here. I told my wife before I left, I think that's the one. I'm going to go through the interview in Shreveport, but I think that's the one.
What made you think that?
Everything I saw about the place, it seemed like they needed somebody with my particular skill set. And I loved the location. I loved everything about it. I got here, I went through the interview, I got back to the hotel, I called my wife and I said, okay, I got it wrong, this is the right one. Okay. This is where I want to be.
Nice.
And it was that way because it was a day-long interview. I got back to the hotel at 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night, and every single person I met with on this campus, and I met with a lot of people,
I bet.
were focused singularly on the success of our students and what we were doing for students in this community. And I thought this is the right place.
Does that not always the case on other campuses?
No. So I certainly don't want to diss any other places, but some institutions can be a little bit introspective, right? Looking inward.
Gotcha.
And this campus is looking toward our students and towards the community. And I saw that in every single person I met. And I remember telling my wife, either this is an elaborate hoax of some sort.
A ruse.
A ruse, right?
Yeah.
Or this is the real thing, and it's the real thing.
Nice. Good to hear that.
Yeah. So, you talk about your particular skill set and your passion for growing kids, and I want to talk about just how much we're growing in a minute, because it is phenomenal. But I think I read a little something about you that I think gives you extra insight into the student life, in that you are the first member of your family to ever graduate college or go to college.
Both. Well,
Wow.
I have an older brother who did 2 years of college, but I was the first in my line to go through college and to graduate.
And look at you now, you're on Good to Know.
Yeah,
Man, you didn't really need that degree, did you?
I would never have anticipated that. And and we are highly first generation. You're 60% first generation at LSU Shreveport.
First generation students that don't have any family members
Whose
that have
parents
been to
had
college
never gone to
before.
college.
Really?
My parents never had the
Interesting.
opportunity. My parents were World War II era parents. My dad got an all-expense paid trip to Western Europe, courtesy of the U.S. Army,
Yeah.
Wow.
in Patton's Third Army, and
Wow.
this was just not an opportunity for them. It's that way for 60% of our undergraduates
At LSU.
at LSUS. Yes,
Wow.
and that's not common either.
I was going to say, that seems a little surprising.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, but it's what we do, and I think we're very, very good at it.
Okay, before we move on, I have to ask you, this is probably going to be the most important question of the day.
Okay.
So when I was a kid growing up in St. Louis, there was a children's show that came on every afternoon. What was it? Howdy Doody. Howdy Do is a show with puppets.
No relation.
But you know what? No,
I know where you're going.
Hosted by Buffalo
Bob
Bob Smith.
Smith. Yes. I'm old enough
You've heard
to
this
remember.
before, huh?
Absolutely. I'm old enough to remember Buffalo Bob, and no relation whatsoever.
Okay, well, I was crying in the back of my mind ever since we got introduced a few minutes ago. I had to ask the question, so hope you don't mind.
Not at all. It happens all the time.
Okay, I bet it does.
For those of our listening audience who actually are interested in business and Shreveport and things that are growing, and get tired of me and Jeff eventually talking,
I'm already
hard
tired
to
of us.
believe. But so why is LSUS growing so much, and how much is it growing? I said it's growing, but not just by 1 or 2 students a year.
Oh gosh, no. We are growing at an incredible clip. This summer we were up 20% year over year in summer enrollment. And summer's not our main thing, but our spring enrollment, for the first time in our history this past spring, we topped 10,000 students.
Wow, that's
Holy
impressive.
smokes.
That was up 17% over spring of 2023. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
And for fall, and I'll just give you a preview. Numbers are not final until students are here and on campus. But we look like we're up double digits again for fall. So we
That
may
is hard
hit
to
yet
believe.
another record enrollment.
So what are the reasons for this?
So I think there's a couple. First, we have programs that students want, and we have programs that are meeting workforce needs in the community.
Okay.
And that's a dynamic combination.
Yeah.
Right? But I think there's a third thing, and that is that we support our students. Once we don't just get them into our programs, but we support them in very substantive ways. So we've built something called the Student Success Center. We have face-to-face tutoring. We have online tutoring. We just acquired, and we're going to roll out in a few weeks, a new app that students can put on their phones. It'll be like a rideshare app. So, hey, I need a tutor in
Oh wow.
chemistry
Yeah.
on Tuesday. And they will connect the student with a tutor in
Yeah.
chemistry.
That's great.
And so I think we've been very, very intentional about supporting our students. Our faculty and our staff are enthusiastic for the mission that we're accomplishing. Our faculty are out in the community, working with public schools and private schools and with businesses and so on. And I think all of this has come together to lead to rapidly increasing enrollments. Now I have to tell you, I was at a conference in Orlando in December, and I met a lot of my friends from around the South who are presidents or chancellors, and they were telling me, oh, it's a good year. We're only down X
Oh, wow.
percent.
Really?
And I said, yeah, it's a really good year in Louisiana. We're only up 17%.
Wow.
And there was a little part of me that was felt guilty about saying that,
Right,
but there was a
yeah.
little part of me that was like, yeah, I want to say this. We are up.
There you
And
go.
LSU as a whole is up. And I think, we have a very attractive product. LSU has the reputation
Right.
well outside of Louisiana. It's one of the few institutions with a three-letter name that everybody in the country recognizes
Right.
immediately.
Well, I was going to ask you, aside from that reputation, is the campus here in Shreveport garnering attention around the country?
Yeah, I think we clearly are. We have won recognition. So we were noted this year as the top ranking institution in the state of Louisiana, the only one in the top 20% for social mobility, which is a score measuring how well you move students from Pell eligibility, which means they need the maximum
Grants,
financial aid, on to good paying jobs. And that's the
Yeah,
mission,
yeah.
right?
That's
is getting
theoretically why you're supposed to go to college.
absolutely to
Supposed to, yeah.
well, to contribute back to the community
Yeah.
and to improve your family's financial status,
Right.
and secure your future.
Yeah.
And
And I
also,
think our students
we haven't even touched on the graduate level program. I know the business school there is growing by leaps and bounds.
Absolutely. Our MBA is in the top 10 nationally in enrollment. Our MBA has more than 5,000 students in
Wow.
it.
Wow.
And when I first heard that,
Is that like half your campus?
it's half our campus. And when I first heard that, I said, no, that can't be right. Nobody has
Yeah.
5,000 students. Well, we do.
Yeah.
Our MHA it's way smaller. It's only 1,200 students, which is unbelievably large, and it's growing fast.
MHA, what's that? mean?
Masters of
That's
Health Administration,
Health
Yeah.
administration.
right? Because you remember we're a hub
We're a
for
health-
healthcare in
True,
Shreveport,
yeah.
Right.
and they need people who are trained and to progress and be in leadership roles.
Well, 1,200 sounds like a lot also.
It is.
Yeah.
I was in a large graduate program, and we had maybe 100 students.
Jeez.
1,200 is just unbelievable.
Hey, can I flip a little bit? Do you
Absolutely.
mind if I ask you a sports related question?
Sure.
So you had a heck of a basketball coach this past year.
We
He did an amazing thing, coaching both the men's and the women's team, taking them both to the national tournament. That's outstanding stuff.
We think, now data on that's not readily available, but we believe he is the only
Gotta
college
be.
coach
Yeah.
to ever coach a men's and women's team the same year and bring them to a tournament bid the same year.
That's an amazing.
He coaches the men's
accomplishment.
and women's team?
Yeah.
Both.
Well, you had the
Wow.
women's coach quit, right, or
He-
something.
He quit.
Yeah.
He quit, and at that point in the season, we were not able to pick somebody up,
Mm-hmm.
and so we approached Coach Blankenship and said, do you think you'd be able to do both? And it was quite a sacrifice on his part.
Sure
but,
was.
That-
Sure
But
was.
he's fantastic. He's going to be recognized
Oh, yeah.
in New Orleans with a really big award.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Are you going to hire a women's coach now? Or are you going to keep going?
We,
the same
we,
way?
we already have.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We like him very much, and we don't want to
Yeah.
burn
Right,
him
to
out.
keep him for a
we
while,
want to
right?
keep him.
Yeah. So
and-
is campus life growing then at LSUS? You've got the sports, you've got the growing student body.
Absolutely. So when I say we're growing and the MBA is leading the way, that's absolutely true. But we're growing in online, we're growing face-to-face, we're growing undergraduate, we're growing graduate. Every place you look, we're growing. And I got a report just the other day that our housing, for the first time, we had more applications for housing than we had spots available. So we're scratching our heads about that right now.
So housing at LSUS, I didn't know, do they have dorms or?
We don't have dorms per se. A few years ago, we purchased the Pilots Point Apartments, which are adjacent to campus. They were privately owned. They're now university owned and running full tilt at this point.
Okay.
So,
So I know we wanted out of the dorms as soon as possible. We wanted apartments anyway.
Yeah.
everybody wants out. Nobody likes the old style that when we were in college,
Yeah.
central bathroom,
Right.
shared bathroom, and so nobody wants that anymore. So,
Okay.
if we get to the point of adding residence hall space, it will be apartment style residence halls, which is what our kids want.
Yeah, that's smart. I got to go back to sports for just a minute. How important is that to the overall health of the campus or growing it?
So it's really important because it gives students, not just student athletes, but students who want to go to a basketball game at night or 2 basketball games, want to go to a baseball game. We have championship sports. So, we're not LSU, we're not Division I,
right,
we're NAIA, but we win championships. And so it's part of what makes a campus exciting.
What other sports do you have? You have basketball and baseball?
We have men's and women's basketball, we have baseball, we have men's and women's soccer, and we have tennis, women's tennis.
Okay. Any volleyball?
Well, it's an interesting question. I'll say not yet.
Not yet, okay.
But we are exploring it
I love volleyball.
right now.
Yeah.
So do I. I used to play it.
Did you? It's a great sport.
It is, and I think we could accommodate it pretty easily. And we are actually running the numbers on it as we speak.
Okay. See, I have a little intuition, Paul. I know you think I don't. But
Incredible intuition. You're so empathetic. Jeff.
I know. My intuition told me to not go to Sonic, and it worked out.
3.5 ounces of fries, man. Come on.
I can turn that down. It's in my head.
So what are some of the fastest growing? You said you have things that students want and what's helping people get jobs. So what are some of the most popular classes and curriculums on campus?
So the MBA and the MHA are far and away.
And that's not just kids. That's like, I know a lot of adults who they have a job and they're like, well, I need to further my education and grow in my career. So you have a lot of adults
absolutely
that are taking advantage of the online, I imagine.
Absolutely, and that's probably our largest component in the online are adults who are wanting to sharpen their skills and move up to another level job. All right. If you look at undergraduate programs, business is still our largest program, more than 700 majors. But biological sciences is the next largest, and biology is something we think we will be able to grow in. In fact, in STEM fields in general, chemistry and biology, we think there are growth opportunities there, and we've been investing in our campus infrastructure to do that. We will be opening this fall the first new building on campus in something like 25 years. It's a biology, actually not biology, it is a science research annex where we'll be able to do student faculty research in a flexible way. The labs are not specifically for organic chemistry or for this or for that. We'll be able to flex those spaces as needed.
We're getting all kinds of, like one recent episode, the LSU, what is it, Health Sciences, were telling us about their expansion into the mall. We're getting all kinds of insight here on these.
Oh, we weren't even supposed to know about that.
Oh.
Apparently, we jumped the gun on that.
We jumped the gun.
Yeah, no, we have
secrets.
We have secrets in the can that we can't even upload yet.
Really, because it's already been on the news. Because I turned it over to the news department. So.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So be careful what you say, Dr. Bob. No, but that is exciting, and even some of the older buildings, like in the business building, I know they've completely remodeled so much of the inside of that.
Yeah, we got a very generous gift from the Davis family, and we have opened what we're calling the Business Engagement Center. And on the front of it is a stock ticker, and our students who have never seen a stock ticker before will just as they're walking by stop and look up and see, well, Intel is up, whatever. And so, we've remodeled there, and we're doing more remodeling. This summer, we've been doing some work in Pilots Point Apartments. We've remodeled the science building and the exterior of the science building, the technology center. We've remodeled a biology lab to bring it into modern standards.
Well, it's interesting because a few years ago, I worked on a story where there was a lot of maintenance problems out on your campus. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, even though you're only been there about a year.
Yes.
13 months, but
I'm sure you've been working to address all of that.
We have. It's difficult. We have a lot of deferred maintenance,
right.
and as do a lot of institutions. And it will come back to bite you sometime. I got a call on last weekend that we had a major power failure, and we had 3 feeds feeding 3 buildings, and one of the copper feeds blew up in a tunnel. So no one's injured, nothing of that
Yeah,
sort.
that's-
So we're going to have to shut down the entire campus on Saturday for all day to replace those power feeds. So we have some things like
Sure.
that.
Well, everybody does.
Well, we do, but
Yeah.
we are trying to address them in as expeditious a fashion as we can. The Louisiana legislature was great this year. They passed a deferred maintenance bill, which gave us money for some deferred maintenance items. So we're addressing some things right now with that.
You know, our guys in our delegation from Northwest Louisiana
Yes.
are always fighting to get more money up here.
And I thank my lucky stars that they are.
Yeah.
No, they've been great. They really have.
Yeah.
What about other medical programs? I'd heard there was possibly nursing. Is that a
So
possibility?
you heard right.
Okay.
We put nursing on our program forecast, I think 2 years ago, got it approved by the Board of Regents, and this year we're going to go through the process of developing it. And a nursing program is more complex to develop than, say, a math program
Or volleyball.
or a
team.
volleyball program, because you have to go through the State Board of Nursing and
Sure.
the accreditation, and you want that. But we're starting that right now. We're trying to identify
Wow.
a consultant
Great.
to come in and tell us how to get started.
Because this is definitely something that's needed up here. There's so many shortages of nurses, and we're building new hospitals, and we need to fill them up with local talent.
In the past few months, I've spoken with the CEOs of 2 of the 3 major medical centers here in Shreveport, and I've talked with the CEO over at Brentwood, and the first thing they tell me is nurses,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nurses, social workers, all sorts of people who require pretty high level of education. So while we have an LPN program right now that's really great and fulfilling needs in the community, a BSN program that we would hope to launch in a few years would produce immediate needs for the community.
How long does it take to start a program like that from the time you think about it to the time you get it put on the board?
So a program like nursing is going to take longer than most others. We're guessing right now because we haven't spoken to consultants yet, but we think probably 2 years.
2 years.
Because you need space,
Right.
and we're identifying the space now. We have space that we can use, but we'll need them those spaces rehabbed to be appropriate for nursing instruction. So they use mannequins now extensively, that instead of live patients, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
They'll do work with mannequins.
Probably
You
not
can use
practice.
him. You can use Paul. I volunteer him.
Well, I was thinking you need to go be the volleyball coach.
I think actually, that's not a bad idea. I like that, though. Keep me in mind.
Well, there's a possibility there.
I don't know. I always think good things about you, Jeff. That's how we
You
differ.
might want to rethink that.
So other things in the area, and man, I'm going like way off script here because I don't even know, but I know that with the Cyber Innovation Center that we need AI and cyber techniques and all those things.
So
somethings.
one of our other large
Good.
Technologist.
one of our other large programs is computer science, and they are into cybersecurity in a big way. We have one of only a few cyber or security operations centers in the state is on our campus, where they're monitoring all the time for intrusions, and we are now training, as of this past spring, we're training students to be cyber sleuths.
I'm telling you, that is a growing
That's
business,
huge.
a growing field. I mean, I know it seems like a niche, like you say, but
No,
my
it's
goodness,
huge.
I
It's
can tell you
everything.
from practical experience
me
that
too.
is devastating when it hits you.
It absolutely is, and we're also partnering with BIPSI and with some other partners around the state to produce more cyber prepared students. So that's
So
starting right now.
Another industry here that's trying to resurge is film and television, and do you have and digital creators?
So we do, and do we have a program that's specifically tuned to that? Not at this point. Is that a direction?
A little foreshadowing there.
Yeah, it may be. There's opportunity. Look, I think you always want to look at where the community needs well-trained employees. And I'll tell you, in one of my previous lives in central Pennsylvania, we had a company called Clare Brothers that, and I had no idea that this was even necessary. Before a band like the Rolling Stones goes on tour, they do prep off-site without an audience, with all the pyrotechnics and all the lights and everything that they do. They built a huge facility. And then they came to my institution and said, you know, we need employees, and we need them trained in ways, you know, not just to know about music, but music business, technology, computers. And so we put together a program to meet their needs. And, you know, and as long as people want to listen to the Rolling Stones and every other band that's out
Wow,
there,
that's interesting.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, that is neat. You've got a wide variety of experience, don't you? A lot of things.
And by that you can say I've been around a while and a half.
He says that about me all the time. Tom, slightly off the path, tell me about your time at Harvard. What was that like?
So it was a 2-week program. So I wasn't a a student,
Okay.
but it was an intensive program, and they brought in presidents and vice presidents from universities all over the country to help us understand how leadership worked on a university level, how the finances worked, and a number of us now are presidents or chancellors.
Wow.
So I'm pretty
It's a
excited.
good class you had there.
It was
huh?
a good class. It was a good group.
That's what they said about Dr. Bob.
Buffalo Bob Smith is the Howdy Doody show, to be exact. Yes, he's the chancellor of that class.
That's right.
So I walked through I was up in Boston covering, I was a sports guy forever, so I forget what I was covering, some basketball tournament, I think.
Okay.
But I walked through I just wanted to see Harvard, and I just made it a point to walk through the campus one night. It was pretty impressive.
It's really impressive being up there. And my president, when I was a dean, sent me there, said, I want you to attend this program. And she sent me on my way, really, to become a provost and a now chancellor.
Nice. Well, we're glad you're here.
I'm so thrilled to be here. This is a great city and a great institution to be part of.
I can tell you have real enthusiasm for it.
Just a little bit. No, I have a lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
This is good. It's a dream job, dream opportunity,
Nice.
and I'm really enjoying it.
Feels like home now, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For as much time as I spend at home, I'm on campus a lot.
Yeah, I get that.
So kids and grown-ups need to look at LSUS first, I think. If people around here, because we need to keep the talent here, so you have programs that are going to keep people working here. What are you most excited about in the near future and down the road?
So one of the initiatives that we haven't announced yet, but we're going to announce.
Another scoop.
It's another scoop.
We're breaking right and left here.
Well, that's why I'm here, right?
There you go.
We want to, we have pockets here and there where we have faculty and students who work with the community. I got a letter from one of the Caddo Parish commissioners just this week thanking me for a faculty member with his students who went out and worked with the parish community in GIS, Global Information Systems, right? It's high tech, and I want to be able to do more of that, particularly with small businesses who they can't afford to go to a big consulting firm, right? That's beyond their means, but they can work with us, and it's a win-win because if our students are working on a real project for a real company, that has far more impact than that same student working on a class project for a phony company building widgets.
Right.
And so we have a working title of the Center for Northwest Louisiana Regional Impact.
Okay.
And what way we envision that is that it will function basically as a marriage broker, going out into
gotcha.
Yeah.
Loosely speaking, I get it.
Yeah, but we're going out in the community and finding where there are business and nonprofit and governmental needs and matching them up with potential partners on our campus. We already do that in the nonprofit sector with our INAR, Institute for Nonprofit Analysis and Research. We already do that in a very big way there, and we just want to explode this and do this some more.
That's got to be a real point of pride, though, when you make that marriage, as you say.
Absolutely, and we did this in Georgia when I was at Valdosta State, And I'm copying the name a little bit, but
okay.
we did more than, when I left there a year ago, we'd done more than 300 projects with,
Wow.
in a couple of years, with businesses and nonprofits and governmental entities.
Nice. Wait, were you at Valdosta State?
I was.
Oh, I'm from Atlanta, so.
Oh,
I should have mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, I
Everything
should've.
Atlanta
Yeah.
and Georgia.
Well, St. Louis, Atlanta, I get
Here's-
around.
Perk up.
Yeah, yeah. In this business, you're like a coach. You're hired to be fired. That's the way it goes. So,
and
so you move around a lot.
I
In
understand.
the TV business, not necessarily
No, I
the
meant the
Chancellor
TV
business.
No,
Well,
TV business.
I don't think it's the chancellor business, but the vice president business, that's certainly a lot of it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
you know, you're there for a time and
That-
another,
that-
if you're doing a good job, another opportunity
Yeah.
comes up.
That's the way it
That's
works.
what it is,
Well,
right?
that's how I'd like to look at it too. Another opportunity comes up after the other one ends abruptly. All right, we got about a minute left. So what else do we need to know?
Well, I mean, like I say, I love all the business things that we talked about. I would have loved to have gone more into helping out how you work with the businesses so that your kids get actual experience as opposed to theoretical experience. There's so many neat things going on. I'm just excited that you came out and excited that LSU has something like that here in Shreveport for local folks that's bringing people here and building up our local students to hopefully stay around.
And that is absolutely the mission.
Yeah.
Right? We are LSU in Shreveport. That's actually our name, LSU in Shreveport. And we
Yeah.
represent LSU here. We're the local comprehensive university. And we're here to benefit the community and the students who reside in that community. And we really, you know, and we really do want our graduates to stay here one day.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're doing a great job. A wide variety of programs out there, and the student population is growing by leaps and bounds. All sounds good.
It sounds great.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Paul.
We appreciate
Jeff.
it.
I'm
He's
Jeff, I'm
Paul.
sorry.
I'm
He's
Jeff.
Paul. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Nobody remembers my name. You've been listening or watching both to Good to Know Shreveport Bossier. You can watch this podcast or listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for being here, and as always, this has been Good to Know.